Alex Murphy rode his bike along the dirt path that cut through the woods behind his house. The summer air was warm, and the late afternoon sun made long shadows between the trees. Alex was 10 years old, with messy brown hair and skinned knees. He knew these woods better than anyone. They were his special place where he could be alone with his thoughts and dreams of space. He pedaled faster, feeling the wind in his hair. His mom wanted him home before dark, but he still had time for one more trip to his favorite clearing. That's when he saw it, a bright flash in the sky. At first, he thought it was lightning, but there were no clouds. The light streaked down, leaving a trail of smoke dot. Then came the sound, a high-pitched whine followed by a crash that shook the ground. Birds flew from the trees in a panic. Alex stopped his bike, his heart racing. Something had fallen from the sky, and it had landed, not far from where he stood. "Wow," he whispered. He dropped his bike and ran toward the sound. Part of him was scared, but his curiosity was stronger. What if it was a meteor? Or maybe a satellite? He pushed through the bush, ignoring the scratches on his arms. When he reached the crash site, he stopped and stared. A small clearing had been torn open, trees knocked down in a circle. In the center sat a shining object about the size of his dad's car. It wasn't a meteor or a satellite. It was a spacecraft. The ship was like nothing Alex had ever seen, even in movies. It had a smooth, curved shape that reminded him of a teardrop. The metal, if it was metal, shimmered with colors that shifted when he moved his head. One side was damaged, with a jagged hole torn in the hull. Alex moved closer, step by step. He should probably run home and tell someone. His dad would. Call the police or the army. But something made him keep walking forward instead. What if whoever was inside needed help? As he got closer, a section of the ship slid open. Alex froze. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a small figure stumbled out and fell to the ground. Alex's eyes widened. It wasn't human. The being was about his size, with blue skin that seemed to glow faintly. Instead of hair, it had what looked like soft feathers that moved gently, like they were floating in water. The creature wore a simple silver outfit that reminded Alex of pictures he'd seen of astronauts, but more elegant. When the being looked up, Alex saw its face. It had large, almond-shaped eyes that were deep purple. No nose, just 2 small slits. And when it opened its mouth in what looked like pain, he saw teeth that were white, almost like a human's. "Are you okay?" Alex asked, knowing the creature. Probably wouldn't understand. The alien child, Alex was sure it was a child, tried to stand, but fell back with a soft cry. Now Alex could see that one of its legs was hurt. Without thinking, Alex moved forward. The alien flinched back, afraid. "It's okay," Alex said softly, holding up his hands to show he meant no harm. "I want to help you." The alien watched him with those strange purple eyes. Alex pointed to his own chest. "Alex," he said clearly. Then he pointed to the first aid kit he always carried in his backpack. His mom had insisted after the time he fell from a tree and needed stitches. Slowly, the alien seemed to relax. It pointed to its own chest and made a sound that Alex couldn't possibly pronounce. It sounded like Zira, but with musical notes mixed in. "Zyra?" Alex tried. The alien's feathers rippled in what might have been a smile. Alex pulled his first aid kit from his backpack and opened it. The alien, Zyra, watched with interest as he took out antiseptic wipes and bandages. "This might sting," Alex warned, though he knew Zyra couldn't understand. He gently cleaned the cut on her leg. The blood was strange, not red, but a deep blue-purple color. Zyra winced, but didn't pull away. When Alex finished putting the bandage on, she reached for a small device attached to her wrist. A hologram appeared in the air between them. Beautiful three-dimensional images that floated and changed. First, there was a large ship, then many smaller ones. Then a strange storm in space. One small ship, the one that had crashed, getting separated from the others. The images were telling a story. You got lost from your family? Alex guessed. Zira nodded, surprising Alex. Maybe some gestures. Or universal dot, the next images showed more ships, different ones, with sharp angles. They looked scary somehow. Zira's feathers flattened against her head when these appeared. Bad guys? Alex asked. Zira nodded again and showed more images. A palace made of crystal. Zira wearing something that looked like a crown. Wait, are you a princess? Alex asked, his eyes wide. Zira seemed to understand his surprise. She made a sound that might have been a laugh, and her feathers rippled with color. Then she showed more images. What looked like a rescue beacon. Then ships coming to find her. Help is coming, Alex said, nodding. That's good. They sat together as the sun began to set. Alex took out his lunchbox and offered Zira half of his sandwich. She sniffed it curiously, then took a small bite. Her face scrunched up, and she quickly handed it back. Alex laughed. Not a fan of peanut butter, huh? To pass the time, Alex showed Zira his science books and drawings of space. She seemed fascinated, pointing to certain stars and then showing holographic images of planets Alex had never seen. Hours passed. The woods grew dark, and Alex knew his parents would be worried. But he couldn't leave Zira alone. Just as he was wondering what to do, lights appeared in the sky. Not stars, ships. They descended slowly, much more controlled than Zira's crash. Alex felt a mixture of wonder and fear as three sleek craft landed in the clearing. Tall beings emerged, looking like adult versions of Zira. They wore armor that seemed to be made of the same shifting metal as the ship. When they saw Zira, they rushed forward, their voices musical and urgent. Zira spoke to them, gesturing to Alex many times. One of the adults approached him and bowed deeply. Alex wasn't sure what to do, so he bowed back. Zira came to him one last time before leaving. She took his hands in hers. They were warm and smooth, and placed something in his palm. It was a small crystal that pulsed with soft blue light. For me? Alex asked. Zira nodded, then pointed to the stars and back to Alex. Will I see you again? He asked. Zira's feathers drooped slightly. She pointed to the stars again, then made a wide gesture. The universe was a big place. I'll find you, Alex promised suddenly. One day I'll find you among the stars. Zira's feathers brightened. She squeezed his hand once more, then turned and went with her people to the ships. Alex watched as the ships rose silently into the night sky. Within moments, they were gone, just points of light among the stars. He stood there for a long time, the crystal warm in his hand. In the distance, he could hear people calling his name. Search parties, probably. His parents must be worried. Sick, but Alex knew his life had changed forever. The universe wasn't just something in books anymore. It was real, it was vast, and somewhere out there, an alien princess was heading home, carrying the memory of a human boy who had helped her. When she was lost and afraid, Alex closed his fingers around the crystal and made a silent promise to himself. No matter how long it took, no matter how impossible it seemed, he would keep his word. Someday, somehow, he would find Zira again. As he turned to walk back through the woods, the crystal pulsed once, as if in agreement, and Alex Murphy, ordinary boy from Pennsylvania, took his first step on a journey that would one day lead him to the stars. 20 years passed since that summer night in the woods. Alex Murphy stood at the large window of the space station, looking out at the stars. He was 30 years old now, tall and lean with the same messy brown hair, though cut shorter. His hand went to the crystal pendant hanging from a simple chain around his neck. It had never left him since that day. After Zira left, no one believed his story. His parents thought he had made it up. The officials who came to question him about the meteor that fell in the woods dismissed his tale as a child's imagination. Even his best friend laughed when he told her about the alien princess. The only proof he had was the crystal. Scientists who examined it could not identify what it was made of. It seemed to have its own energy source, pulsing with soft blue light. Sometimes, when Alex pointed it toward a certain part of the night sky, it would glow brighter, as if responding to something far away. Alex had spent his life trying to reach the stars. He studied hard in school, focusing on science and space. His teachers were impressed by his knowledge of astronomy. By 22, he had earned his doctorate in astrophysics. Now he worked for the International Space Agency as a specialist in deep space communications. "Dr. Murphy, the director wants to see you," said a voice behind him. Alex turned to see Olivia Bennett, a fellow scientist with short red hair and kind eyes. She was one of the few people who didn't laugh at his story about Zira, though she didn't quite believe it either. "Did she say what it's about?" Alex asked. "No, but she seemed excited. Something big is happening." Alex followed Olivia through the space station. The station was humanity's most advanced outpost, orbiting Earth at the edge of the moon's path. From here, scientists could study deep space without Earth's atmosphere in the way. Director Susan Kelly was waiting in her office. She was a serious woman with gray hair pulled back tightly. But today, there was a rare smile on her face. "Dr. Murphy, we've received a signal," she said without greeting, "from deep space, and it's not random." Alex's heart beat faster. What kind of signal? Artificial, intelligent, and aimed directly at Earth. She turned her screen so Alex could see. "It's coming from the Cygnus sector." Alex's hand went to his crystal pendant. That was the direction it always pointed to when it glowed brightest. "What does the signal say?" he asked. "We don't know yet. That's why I called you. Your work on possible alien communication patterns might help us decode it." For the next week, Alex barely slept. He worked with a team of the best scientists on Earth to understand the signal. It contained mathematical sequences, images, and what seemed to be language. One night, as Alex worked alone in the lab, his pendant began to pulse more strongly than ever before. Acting on instinct, he held it up to the screen, showing the signal pattern. The pendant's light synchronized with the signal's pulses. Suddenly, the screen filled with new information. The signal was translating itself. Alex stared in wonder. The message was simple: "We come in peace. Prepare for contact." He rushed to Director Kelly's quarters. She called an emergency meeting. Within hours, every major leader on Earth knew about the message. Some were excited, others terrified. What should humanity do? "We should respond," Alex argued. "Show them we're ready." Not everyone agreed, but in the end, Alex's expertise won out. He was chosen to craft the response message, which simply said, "We welcome peaceful contact. We are ready." 3 days later, long-range sensors detected a ship entering the solar system. It moved faster than anything humans had built, crossing the distance from Pluto to Earth in just hours. The ship slowed as it approached Earth. It was beautiful, sleek and silver with flowing lines that reminded Alex of something he had seen long ago. It took up position near the space station, but kept a respectful distance. "They're sending a new message," said the communications officer. "They're requesting permission to send a small craft to the station with ambassadors." Director Kelly looked at Alex. "What do you think, Dr. Murphy?" Alex touched his pendant, which was glowing steadily now. "I think we should meet them. The decision was made. The alien craft would dock with the station. Alex, Director Kelly, and 3 other senior staff would be the welcoming committee. They waited nervously at the airlock. As the system showed the alien ship connecting with their station, the door slid open. 3 tall beings stepped through. They had blue skin that seemed to glow faintly, and instead of hair, feathery crests that moved gently. They wore elegant silver suits that reminded Alex of something from his childhood. The tallest one stepped forward. "People of Earth," it said in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Zoran of the Kalorian Empire. We come in peace and friendship." Alex couldn't speak. These were Zyra's people, the Kalorians. After 20 years, he had finally found a connection. To her, Director Kelly welcomed the ambassadors formally. As they spoke, Alex noticed one of the aliens watching him closely. This one was shorter than the others, with feathers that were more gold than blue. When the formal greetings were done, this alien approached him. "You are Dr. Alex Murphy," it said. It wasn't a question. "Yes," Alex replied. "How do you know my name?" The alien's feathers rippled in what might have been a smile. "Because you wear the royal life token of House Vaylor." It pointed to Alex's pendant. Such tokens are given only to those of great importance to the royal family. Alex's fingers closed around the crystal. "It was given to me by someone named Zira. She crashed near my home when I was a child." The alien's feathers stood up in surprise. "You helped Princess Zira?" "Princess?" Alex had been right all those years ago. "Yes, though now she is Queen Zira, ruler of the Kalorian Empire." Alex felt dizzy. The little alien girl he had helped was now a queen. And she had sent her people to Earth. Was it possible she remembered him too? The alien, who introduced herself as Nyla, spoke quietly. "Queen Zira has always had a special interest in Earth. Now I understand why. She will want to know that you still have her token. Can I see her?" Alex asked, his voice barely a whisper. Nyala's feathers rippled again. "That may be possible. The Queen has invited a small delegation from Earth to visit our homeworld. Perhaps you should be part of it." As the formal meetings continued between humans and Kalorians, Alex could hardly focus. All he could think about was the promise he had made 20 years ago in those woods. "I'll find you among the stars," he had said. And now, against all odds, it seemed that promise might actually be fulfilled. The next few weeks were the busiest of Alex's life. Earth's leaders had selected a small team to visit the Kalorian homeworld. Alex was chosen because of his connection to Queen Zira, though many officials still doubted his story. Director Kelly was named as the head of the delegation, with 5 other experts in different fields. Nyala spent much time with Alex, teaching him about Kalorian customs and language. Their language was musical, with tones that human voices could barely make. Alex practiced for hours each day, determined to at least learn basic greetings. "The feather movements are important too," Nyala explained, her own golden crest rippling. "They show our emotions. When meeting the Queen, try to keep your body relaxed and open. Closed postures suggest dishonesty to us." Alex nodded, taking careful notes. What is she like now? Queen Zyra? Nyala's feathers shifted to a soft blue. She is wise and fair. She became queen 5 years ago when her mother died. Some thought she was too young, but she has proven herself many times. She is different from past rulers, more interested in other worlds and species. And she remembers Earth? Remembers me? Alex couldn't help asking. She has always directed resources toward watching your planet. Until now, none of us knew why. Nyala studied him. That pendant you wear, it is more than a simple gift. It is a royal life token, linked to her life force. Such tokens are usually given only to bondmates or children. Alex touched the crystal, which pulsed warmly under his fingers. I had no idea. I just knew it was special. The day of departure came quickly. The human delegation boarded the Kalorian ship, a much larger version of the diplomatic vessel. It was named something Alex couldn't pronounce, but Nyala said it. Meant bridge between worlds in their language. The ship's interior was beautiful, with curved walls that seemed to flow like water. The rooms adjusted to human comfort needs without anyone having to ask. Beds appeared from walls, and food dispensers learned to make Earth meals. How long until we reach your homeworld? Director Kelly asked Ambassador Zoran. 3 of your Earth. Days, he replied. Our ship moves through space in ways your science has not yet discovered. During the journey, Alex spent most of his time with Nyala, learning everything he could about Kalorian culture. He learned their planet was called Keller, and it orbited a blue star, much larger than Earth's sun. The Kalorians had mastered space travel thousands of years ago, and had built an empire spanning many star systems. But we are peaceful now, Nyala assured him. We learn from other species instead of conquering them. On the 3rd day, Nyala came to Alex's room looking excited. We are approaching Keller. Come see. Alex followed her to the ship's observation deck. The view took his breath away. Keller was larger than Earth, with swirling blues and purples covering its surface. Unlike Earth's blue and green, Keller's colors came from its unique plant life. Several moons orbited the planet, and ships of all sizes moved between them. It's beautiful, Alex whispered. The royal palace is there. Nyala pointed to a large continent. That is where we will land. The ship descended through Keller's atmosphere. Alex pressed his face to the window, taking in everything. The landscape was alien, but somehow familiar too. Mountains rose in impossible spirals, and forests of feather-like trees swayed in the wind. Cities shimmered with the same shifting metal as the ships. They landed on a platform outside the largest city. A welcoming committee waited for the more Kalorians in formal attire, their feather crests adorned with jewels that caught the light of the blue sun dot as the human delegation stepped out. Alex felt the difference in gravity, slightly stronger than Earth's. The air was thicker too, rich with unfamiliar scents. His pendant glowed brighter than ever before. Ambassador Zoran introduced each human to the welcoming committee. When he came to Alex, he said something that made the Kellerians gasp and stare. Alex recognized the word for life token in their array. Language. They were taken to the royal palace in floating vehicles that moved silently above the ground. The palace was unlike any building Alex had seen. It seemed to be alive, with walls that shifted and changed. Later, Nyala explained that it was partly grown rather than built, using living crystal that responded to the needs of those inside. The humans were given rooms to rest and prepare for the formal meeting with Queen Zyra. Alex couldn't rest. He paced his room, touching his pendant again and again. Would she remember him? Would she care about a promise made by children so long ago? When it was time, servants came to escort them to the throne room. They were given special robes to wear Earth. Blue for the humans, woven with silver threads that caught the light. The throne room was vast, with a ceiling that opened to the sky. Hundreds of Kalorians lined the walls, their feather crests moving in waves of color. At the far end, on a raised platform, stood a throne that seemed to be made of living light, and on that throne sat Queen Zyra. Alex's heart stopped for a moment. She was taller now, her once-child body grown into graceful adulthood. Her skin was still that luminescent blue, but now it shimmered with subtle patterns. Her feather crest was magnificent, flowing down her back in shades of blue and purple. She wore a simple crown of white crystal that caught and bent the light. The delegation was announced one by one. They approached the throne, bowing as they had been taught. Alex was last in line. His legs felt weak as he walked forward. When his name was announced, Queen Zyra straightened on her throne. Her feathers shifted from formal blue to a bright, surprised purple. She said something quickly to an advisor beside her. Dalek stepped forward and bowed. When he straightened, he saw that Queen Zyra had stood up from her throne. This caused a murmur among the court, apparently. The queen rarely stood to greet visitors. Queen Zyra stepped down from the platform, her advisors moving nervously behind her. The court watched in silence as she approached Alex. She stopped. Just in front of him, her purple eyes, the same eyes he remembered studying his face. Slowly, Alex reached for his pendant and held it up. It pulsed with light that matched the rhythm of the crystals in Queen Zyra's crown. "Your Majesty," Alex said softly, "I made a promise once to find you among the stars." For a long moment, Queen Zyra was still. Then, to the shock of everyone, in the court, she spoke in perfect English. "Alex Murphy, you kept your promise." The throne room fell silent. No one moved as Queen Zyra and Alex looked at each other. Even Director Kelly and the other humans stood frozen, surprised by what was happening. "You speak English," Alex said, his voice barely a whisper. "Queen Zyra's." Feathers rippled with what Alex now recognized as amusement. "I learned your language so that when we finally met again, I could thank you properly. You saved my life that day in the woods." An older Kalorian with silver feathers stepped forward, looking upset. "Your Majesty, this is not part of the formal protocol." The human delegation, Queen Zyra held up a hand, and the advisor fell silent. "Lord Varric, today we will make an exception to protocol." She turned to the entire court. 20 Earth years ago, when I was a child, my scout ship crashed on their planet. This human, Alex Murphy, found me injured and alone. He helped me when he could have feared me. He showed kindness when he could have shown suspicion. The court murmured in surprise. Many of the Kalorians looked at Alex with new interest. Queen Zyra continued. "The formal reception will continue as planned, but first, I wish to speak with Alex Murphy privately." She looked at Director Kelly. "With your permission, of course." Director Kelly looked startled but nodded. "Of course, Your Majesty." Queen Zyra turned and walked toward a side door. She gestured for Alex to follow. He glanced at his fellow humans, who looked just as confused as he felt, then followed the queen. The door led to a small garden. Plants with feathery leaves in. Shades of purple and blue swayed gently, though there was no wind. Small creatures that looked like a cross between birds and butterflies flitted among. Crystal formations that grew from the ground. Queen Zyra sat on a bench made of the same living crystal as the palace walls. She gestured for Alex to join her. "I never thought I would see you again," she said softly. "Space is so vast, and your people were so far from being ready to join the galactic community." "But you watched Earth anyway," Alex said. "Niala told me you directed resources to monitor our planet." Queen Zyra nodded. "My advisors thought I was being strategic, planning for the day Earth might be useful to the Empire. Only I knew the truth." "What truth?" Alex asked. "That I wanted to find the boy who helped me, the boy who promised to find me among the stars." Her feathers shifted to a soft pink color. No one had ever made me a promise like that before. Even as a child, I was always Princess Zyra first, just a person second. Alex smiled. "No one believed me when I told them about you. They said I made it up. The crystal pendant was my only proof it was real." Queen Zyra reached out slowly and touched the pendant that hung around Alex's neck. "Do you know what this is?" Niala called it a life token. She said they're usually only given to family. She is correct. It contains a small piece of my life. Essence. It lets me know you are safe, no matter the distance between us. Queen Zyra's feathers shifted to a deeper blue. "I was not supposed to give it to you. My guards were very upset when they realized what I had done. But I was stubborn even then. Alex laughed. I was stubborn too. Everyone told me to forget about aliens and focus on normal things, but I never could. For the next hour, they talked like old friends. Queen Zira told Alex about growing up as the heir to the Empire, about the weight of responsibility that had been placed on her shoulders. Alex told her about his studies, his work, and his never-ending belief that he would find her again someday. Is that why you became a scientist? Queen Zira asked. To reach space? Alex nodded. Everything I did was to get closer to the stars, to have a chance of keeping my promise. Queen Zira's feathers rippled. And now you have kept it. What will you do next? Before Alex could answer, a servant entered the garden and bowed deeply. Your Majesty, the council is waiting. The treaty discussions cannot begin without you. Queen Zira sighed. Duty calls, as always. She stood up. Alex Murphy, would you walk with me back to the throne room? Your fellow humans must be wondering, what has happened to you? As they walked through the crystal corridors, many Calorians stopped and stared. Some bowed to their queen, but their curious eyes followed Alex. News of his connection to Queen Zira had clearly spread quickly. They are surprised, Queen Zira explained. No alien has ever worn a royal life token before. Some will see it as an honor. Others may see it as a threat. A threat? Alex asked. How could I be a threat? Those close to the queen have influence, and influence is power. Queen Zira's voice was matter-of-fact. Politics is the same in every world, it seems. When they returned to the throne room, the formal proceedings began. Director Kelly presented Queen Zira with gifts from earth art, music, and books that showed the best of human culture. Queen Zira, in turn, presented the humans with Calorian knowledge cures for several diseases that had long plagued Earth, and clean energy technology that would help heal the planet's environment. Throughout the ceremony, Alex stood with the other humans, but he could feel the eyes of the court on him. His pendant glowed softly, matching the rhythm of the crystals in Queen Zira's crown. The connection between them was visible to everyone. When the formal part was over, a feast began. The humans were seated at the high table with Queen Zira and her most important advisors. Alex found himself placed at the Queen's right hand, a position of great honor. Nyla had told him. Lord Varric, the silver-feathered advisor who had objected earlier, leaned toward Queen Zira. Your Majesty, such obvious favor to an alien will cause talk. Let them talk, Queen Zira replied calmly. Alex Murphy is an honored guest with a personal connection to the crown. That is all anyone needs to know. As the feast continued, Alex noticed a group of younger Calorians watching him. Their feathers were styled differently from the others, cut short in what Nyla had told him was a sign of modern thinking. Those are the Reform faction, Queen Zira said, following his gaze. They support my efforts to open our empire to more contact with other species. They see your presence here as a victory. And who are they? Alex asked, nodding toward another group whose feathers were adorned with traditional jewels. The traditionalists. They believe the empire should remain pure and separate. Queen Zira's voice was low. They see your life token as an insult to our ways. Alex frowned. I don't want to cause problems for you. Queen Zira's feathers rippled in what he now recognized as a smile. You don't understand, Alex Murphy. You may be exactly what our empire needs right now, living proof that humans and Calorians can form bonds of trust and friendship. As the night went on, Alex was introduced to countless Calorian nobles and officials. Some were welcoming, clearly curious about Earth and humans. Others were coldly polite, their feathers stiff with disapproval. Through it all, his pendant glowed steadily, connecting him to the queen who sat on her crystal throne, watching him. navigate her world with the same curiosity and openness he had shown when they first met as children. The next 3 days were filled with meetings between the Earth delegation and Kalorian officials. Humans and Kalorians discussed trade, technology sharing, and cultural exchange. Alex found himself in a unique position, trusted by both sides. Director. Kelly pulled him aside after one meeting. Whatever connection you have with the Queen, it's helping us. The Kalorians are offering us technology that would have taken Earth centuries to develop on our own. Alex nodded. They want to help us. Queen Zira believes our worlds can learn from each other. Not everyone agreed. Some of the traditionalist Kalorians made their disapproval clear. Lord Varric, the silver-feathered advisor, seemed especially unhappy with Alex's presence. On the 4th day, Alex was invited to join Queen Zira for a tour of the capital city. They traveled in a royal transport, a floating platform surrounded by a bubble of clear energy that kept them safe and comfortable. "My people are curious about you," Queen Zira said as they moved above the city streets. Kalorians below looked up and pointed, their feathers moving in patterns of excitement. Most have never seen a human before. The city was beautiful. Buildings grew rather than being built, rising from the ground in spirals of living crystal. Parks filled with strange plants dotted the landscape. In one central square, a hologram of the galaxy spun slowly, highlighting the worlds of the Kalorian Empire. "How many planets are part of your empire?" Alex asked. 47 worlds with Kalorian colonies," Queen Zira replied. "And over 100 more that we trade with or protect." She pointed to a small blue dot. Earth is there, small, but now very important. As they continued their tour, Alex noticed a group of Kalorians following their transport. Their feathers were styled in the traditional way, with ancient symbols woven into the patterns. Queen Zira noticed them too. Her guards moved closer to the transport, their hands near their weapons. "Who are they?" Alex asked. "Purists," Queen Zira said quietly. "An extreme group of traditionalists who believe contact with other species weakens our empire." Her feathers rippled with concern. "They have been growing more vocal since I became queen." The transport moved on, leaving the purists behind. Queen Zira showed Alex the great library, where all Kalorian knowledge was stored in living crystal memory banks. She showed him the academy, where young Kalorians learned science and art. Everywhere they went, people stared at the human who wore a royal life token. That evening, a grand ball was held to celebrate the new friendship between Earth and Keller. The crystal palace was transformed, with floating lights and music that seemed to come from the walls themselves. Kalorians in their finest attire mingled with the humans, their feathers adorned with jewels and precious metals. Alex wore formal Earth clothes, but with a Kalorian sash of honor that Queen Zira had given him. His pendant glowed brightly against his chest, matching the rhythm of the Queen's crown. As the celebration began, Queen Zira made a formal announcement. "Today marks a new chapter for our empire. Earth is now under the protection and friendship of Keller. Their people will be welcomed in our worlds, and we will share knowledge and culture." Most of the court applauded, but Alex noticed that Lord Varric and his supporters remained silent, their feathers stiff with disapproval. The music began, and Queen Zira surprised everyone by asking Alex to join her in the first dance. He had been practicing Kalorian dances with Nyla, but he was still nervous as he stepped onto the floor with the Queen. "Everyone is watching," he whispered as they began the slow, flowing movements of the dance. "Let them watch," Queen Zira replied. "Let them see that humans and Kalorians can move in harmony." As they danced, Alex felt a strange sensation. His pendant grew warmer, and the crystal in Queen Zira's crown pulsed in the same rhythm. For a moment, he could feel what she felt: the weight of her responsibilities, her hopes for her people. and her joy at finding her childhood friend again. When the dance ended, the court applauded. Even some of the traditionalists seemed moved by the sight of their queen dancing with the human who had saved her life. But as the night continued, trouble began. Lord Varric approached Queen Zyra, his feathers bristling with anger. "Your Majesty, this has gone too far. A human wearing a royal life token is one thing, but to dance with him before the court? The purists are already using this to question your judgment." Queen Zyra's feathers flattened against her head. "My judgment is not the concern of the purists. Lord Varric, Alex Murphy represents the best of humanity, curiosity, kindness, and courage. These are qualities our empire should value." Lord Varric's feathers darkened. "There are whispers, Your Majesty. Whispers that your fondness for this human goes beyond political alliance." Before Queen Zyra could respond, a commotion broke. Out at the entrance to the ballroom, a group of purists had pushed past the guards. Their leader, a tall Kalorian with red-tinted feathers, pointed at Alex. "The queen has been enchanted by this alien," he shouted. "He wears a royal life token that should never have been given. He corrupts our ways." Guards moved to surround Queen Zyra and Alex. The other humans were quickly escorted to safety. The purists were held back, but their shouts filled the room. "I should have expected this," Queen Zyra said quietly to Alex. "Change never comes easily." She stepped forward, and the room fell silent. Even the angry purists lowered their voices to hear their queen. "20 years ago, I crashed on a strange world," Queen Zyra began. "I was injured and afraid. The beings who lived there could have killed me or captured me. Instead, one of them, a child no bigger than I, was helped me. He cleaned my wounds. He kept me company until my people found me. And when I had to leave, he made me a promise that seemed impossible, that one day he would find me among the stars." The court was silent now, listening. "That promise was kept," Queen Zyra continued. "Alex Murphy dedicated his life to reaching the stars, to finding me again. Not for power or advantage, but because of a promise made by a child." She looked at the purists. "You say he corrupts our ways. I say he reminds us of our best traditions, honor, loyalty, and keeping our word. The life token I gave him was my choice, and I stand by it. Earth and Keller will be friends and allies, and any who cannot accept this new path are welcome to leave my court." The leader of the purists stepped back, his feathers drooping in defeat. Lord Varric looked shocked at the queen's strong words. The rest of the court began to applaud, softly at first, then louder got Queen Zyra turned to Alex. "It seems we have changed the course of 2 worlds. You and I," Alex smiled. "All because of a crash in the woods and a childhood promise." In the days that followed, the treaty between Earth and Keller was signed. The human delegation prepared to return home with news of their new allies and the amazing technology they had been given. Before they left, Queen Zyra had one more surprise for Alex. "I am appointing you as Earth's official ambassador to Keller," she said. "If you accept, you would live here part of the year, helping our worlds understand each other better." Alex touched his pendant, which had never stopped glowing since he arrived on Keller. "I would be honored, Your Majesty." Queen Zyra's feathers rippled with happiness. "Then the boy who helped an alien child and the man who kept his promise will help build a bridge between our stars." As the Earth ship prepared to depart, carrying the delegation home with news that would change human history forever, Alex stood at the viewport and looked out at the beautiful blue world of Keller. Soon he would return to Earth to prepare for his new role. But he knew he would be back. A promise he made as a child had been kept. But now, a new promise was beginning, one between 2 worlds that had found each other across the vast emptiness of space, all because a human boy and an Alien princes had shown kindness to each other when it mattered most.